Okay, thanks for joining the REDCap tutorial. This is episode 3 for me. We've been converting podcast to episodes. So today's topic is going to be dynamic data pool. And actually, this is more so of an overview because I think, if you're from different institution or trying to do this yourself, you wouldn't be able to as an end user. So technically, your administrators would have to set the dynamic data pool up for you rather than you setting it up yourself and going through all the I guess the technical pieces of setting up the dynamic data pool feature itself. So and now I'll explain that in a second here. First of all the tutorials and training information is available on our research portal. So I'm going to go ahead and point some information for you real quick, and you can also check this out. All right, so research portals at bic.cctr.vc.edu, and again, you can just go to the REDCap training topics link right here, and as you can see, we have updated this page a little bit, but it gives you a nice sense of what we've done so far. Again, we will be improving these videos and tutorials to get them to be very clean and concise and easily followed for you guys, so that you can just watch the videos anytime you feel like. So I think most of the videos are very helpful. We pick and choose the most helpful and most, I guess, popular items in REDCap that could be used quickly. And they're only around 10-20 minutes long, so I think it's very digestible. So anyway, that's just update on training topics area. So there's a lot of the topics here. Of course, if you click on them, you can go to the the YouTube videos itself. So okay, so let's go ahead and get started with the dynamic data pool. All right, so what is dynamic data pool itself? Dynamic data pool is a feature in REDCap that allows the end users of a particular project, the owner of the project, to import data into it from, let's just say, an EMR or some text file or any type of data store that's external to REDCap. It could be from directly from an EMR, which is possible, or from a web service externally, again, or some CSV/text file if you wanted to. So, but today we're going to just demo a quick demo of the data pool using some fictitious data that I've already added earlier, and I could just show you some of the uh, ways to do this. So, give me a sec. Okay, so I've already enabled DDP um, for for this instance of REDCap. It's our test instance, and I can just show you real quick of the the setting it up portion here. You probably wouldn't really touch this area, but as administrators and super users of REDCap, you're gonna have to get your administrators or I guess me, if you had VCU, to set this up for you, and you can see all the test stuff I've added here already. Anyways, just pretend that it's available to you and that you could just use it. You need to request it from us. So let's just say you want to have a project enabled for DDP. You want to import data from our Sona EMR system. So you would say, hey, Mike, I would like to have DDP enabled for my project, and we will have to sit down with you and create an SLA and all that stuff. But once that's completed, we can have something done to allow you to use DDP. So I've already enabled it for our instance, our test instance, to play around with. So then what happens is that as an end user, you would just go into your project as usual. So let's just say for this test DDP test project, just name it DDP. But as you can see right here in the project setup page, settings displayed to super users only. So technically, end users that are not super users, you won't see these two options. You got Twilio, and we'll have a topic on this, I think maybe a few weeks from now. But we have dynamic data pool, which is not available, or which is not able to be seen by end users. So we would have to go in here and just hit the enable button for you. Okay, you see that? So we've just enabled DDP for this project. So that's how we enable DDP. And so what happens next? The next thing is that you have to, we've enabled it for you. So now that you can see this option right here. After enabling DDP, you see this option right here. It's called set up dynamic data pool from big data sources. That's what I named it. So, and then you would just click on here. Okay, this DDP, this screen here allows you to map the source data, which is your EMR system, our EMR system, Cerner, or some other data sources that we provided to you, a common data source. And this screen here allows you to set up the mapping. Let's say the record ID on the map on the source side is called record ID. On your REDCap side, you called it ID. So that the different as far as the semantics, but you need to map it so that REDCap understands what we're talking about here. For example, on the big data sources labeled medical record number as MRN, we actually have it as MRN as well in this project here. Now you can have it as VCU MRN, but whatever it is, you should understand your data so that you can map it correctly. Let's say you map it to record ID, then it might not be correct. So just make sure that you, obviously, when you choose this, when you map, you need to understand your data. So if you don't, you're going to be in big trouble. So demographics, for example, in the source, as you can see, the source column, we have date of birth, and I have in this project date of birth. And the variable doesn't have to be the same, but technically the labeling or the context of the data needs to be proper, right? So date of birth, it could be date of birth written out, or just DOB, whatever that represents your data properly. Ethnicity, I've mapped it to ethnicity on my side. First name to our first name, and on and on. And you get to these temporal data, like the labs data that could happen multiple times. This mapping here has more options where, as you can see, date time values used with days offset. So that basically it just queries all the temporal fields to try to match it up. So let's just say you collect this urea nitrogen blood over and over again, but it's at separate, different time interval. So this is the reason why we have this, so that it knows what to put for what for that BUN variable. Okay. So once you complete this, I think it's fairly intuitive, and it's straightforward in a way here. So you just hit the save button. Okay. And again, once this is enabled, you probably want to play with this a little bit. And again, the preview fields might be helpful as well, because what it is it's contextual. If you can see the first name, last name, and maybe another field called, let's just say, date of birth, you would understand the records coming in from the source side, so that you can go ahead and confidently import it into your project, whatever that record would be. Okay, so let's just go ahead and save mappings, and it saves for us. So what happens next? The next thing one would do is, this is for the data entry person. Let's just say that you are the owner, the creator of the project. You already mapped it for the data entry people, or maybe you're one and the same, and that's fine. So now the data entry person would click add a record or something. They go into it and they add a new record. Okay, and as you can see, these different icons shows up right now. So they're available because you have enabled DDP for this project, and you've mapped these fields to the source: number, medical record number, first name, last name, gender, ethnicity, race, date of birth is what we mapped. And so that when you start entering in an MRN, depending on what's available in the source, let's just say for the study ID number 3, we have an MRN of 1 or something like that. Once you hit the tab button to go to the next field, you can see that it had fetched some data from the DDP service, and it's going to ask you, hey, you want to enter these values below? So this is the step that a data entry person would kind of verify, make sure that's proper, that the MRN is correct. Like yes, all this is good. Go ahead and save it. Now this screen comes up because it's showing you that the current REDCap value, we don't have anything. This is a new record. There's 4 new items, 1, 2, 3, 4, as you can see. These are what we can import. There's 2 missing items. These are invalid because apparently the source has some invalid data. Maybe the format is incorrect or something, but we can just ignore that. So again, the sources sometimes might not match up with the coding of how you have your ethnicity or race, etc. So that lets you know if you have it as some kind of XYZ that doesn't match up with the coded values of the source, then it's not going to import properly. But in this case, it looks like the import, the source has invalid data. So anyways, we'll go ahead and save this, hit the save button. We're satisfied with it. We hit the save button, and it's now imported into this record here, record number 3. So you're saying, okay, how is this helpful? That if I was to be the data entry person, how is this helpful to me? Well, data changes, and this is the project where your data is constantly being updated. It's not where you would want to have this set up for a single data entry mode, where you would just enter the data and just be complete. This is for something that is for data that is constantly being updated, especially when you have longitudinal projects or data sources where, like I said, labs or some other type of data is constantly being updated. You're collecting somebody's vitals or something, and that's timed, and so that data itself, it's, for example, bumine, or I think whatever that variable BUN would be, but it's updated maybe 1 hour at a time, and so you need to collect that, and you don't want to have that entered every time manually. So that's the whole feature of this is that it's powerful for projects that requires updated data. So let's go ahead and hit the save record here. So if we go back into that record real quick to, actually I think it was 3. Okay, here. You notice up top that there's no new item from data source, but let's just say that if there was any item, like, if you had that lab over here, it's collected. So, let's just say that today's change, we visit today, Okay, and you go back into this record, and if the visit has changed or updated, then it'll let you know that a couple of items has been updated, and it'll let you know in this little red box here. It'll show up, and so one has to just go ahead and import that, and automatically have data import into REDCap records. All these data here. You know, if urea, nitrogen, blood is updated, then you can just hit the import without entering the data. So that's pretty much the gist of dynamic data pool. Again, this is something that is, I think, fairly advanced for end users, where you have to do coordinated the study and the project itself with us, the administrators, so that we can first enable it for you. Let's see here. So we have to enable it for you, and then we have to enable the project to have DDP be available. So that's two things. We have to set up the DDP, and then we have to set up or enable DDP on the project, individual projects. So as a PI or the owner, you would set up the mappings. So you would map the source to the variables, and then as a data entry person or the same person, then go and import the data. And this is something that they would have to they don't have to constantly you know, monitor, but the beauty of it is that data is coming in and you just import it as you need. Okay, is any question to DDP I can answer? Or any questions at all regarding REDCap? I think this is a good time for questions. If you have questions for me regarding anything else, you know, in the REDCap world, or instance of REDCap at VCU.
Hey, Mike, I have a question on the source fields, the external source fields.
Okay.
If as administrators, I understand, like, you set up those source fields, but how would we know what's available to us? Like, what fields would be available to us?
Okay, so that's actually from the metadata source that we import into part of the web service, right? So let me see here. It's one of those interesting thing where I let me see here. You know, let me give me 1 second. So meta data source here. This is what's available to us, and this is just a demo, but that's there. So we do that, and then what happens is that when you do the import, I mean the DDP. I'm sorry. Okay, this pop. So here it is. Here it is. Find more fields to map. You see that little button right there? And I did not go over that button. Sorry, but let's see here. Oops. This button here allows you to kind of browse through all the source data, source fields. I'm sorry, that's available as an end user. So this is what's kind of like presented to you, and you obviously, as an end user, you would not be able to kind of change that. Unless maybe, you know, requested from the admin that we add something, we change the query in the back end to populate more fields. So it's a lot of test data in here, or test meta in here. But does that answer your question?
Yeah. Yep. That's perfect.
Okay.
Thanks, Mike.
Cool. Yeah, no problem. All right. Cool. So any questions about anything else in dynamic data pool, or anything else I can answer with regards to REDCap, or in general anything? I'm pretty open, so this is a good time for just QA as well with any projects related issues, because we don't have like the training as we used to have. We have like ad hoc training if you request it from us, but we don't have like a weekly training anymore. So this is a good time to kind of answer your questions if you have any. All right, cool. So what's going to happen is that I will post this video, and if there's any uncertainty or understanding or some issues or help that you need, we're going to just put this on YouTube, and then you can just ask any questions there. And then again, tune in next week. We'll have some other topics, and it'll just get interesting as we continue to create tutorials for everyone. And actually, everything in REDCap is going to be created via the tutorial. So all the topics, all these stuff. Okay, that's all. That's all, guys. Thanks for coming, and sorry for being a little late, but yeah, I'll see you next week.